And walking around the perimeter of the bleachers was the guy that backed out on us.
That's how we do it in the South.
What's going on, guys, and welcome to Rabbit's Used Cars. You know, have you ever looked at an obituary and just smiled? You know, I know it's bad to say that. And I joke, I mean, nobody wants to see anybody die. But there's that one person, it wouldn't hurt your feelings. Like, you know, everybody's got that one person you just don't like, you know, and I've got a couple, and one of them just passed away recently, and it was actually shared with me from a friend, and he goes, "You'll never believe it, that old son of a bitch finally died." You know what I mean? I don't want to talk too bad about the guy. He is dead, you know, but I want to share a story with you of one of many instances where this guy really, really, really pissed on my parade. Well, not mine directly, but in general, anybody this guy comes in contact with, he tends to screw over. He's just that kind of guy. And horrible reputation. And, you know, I love it when people come to me and be like, "Hey, have you heard of so-and-so and so-and-so?" I'm like, "Oh my God, you know, just be careful what you do." And then sure enough, within, you know, just a short amount of time, they're coming back and they're like, "Oh my God, you were right. That guy's, what the hell?" You know, I'm like, "Told you." You know, I've been around this game a long time. This guy's an auctioneer, you know, real big in the auction stuff. And, you know, he's a shady-ass auctioneer. And auctions are shady as hell anyway. I mean, and I know that's probably kind of odd coming from a guy that was banned from the world's largest auction, but for life. But in the same token, I know how these things work, you know, and you got to think about auctions. Auctions are kind of like, well, you got to look at it two ways. If you're putting one on, auctions are like going to a nude beach. It's great till you get there. There are a lot of headaches. They're not what you think they're going to be most of the time. You have a few really successful ones, and you have a lot that are, mediocre at best. And then from the buying standpoint of an auction, which is more my thing, you got to understand that cars that go through auctions, there's a reason why they're there. Kind of like there's hot girls on the internet, on all the dating sites. There's a reason. There's a problem there. You know, there's a reason why they couldn't sell it. And there's a reason why this girl didn't find happiness with her last 37 boyfriends. And I'm sure it's not her. I'm sure it's all them. But, no, actually, she is the problem. I have to nip that in the bud. Anyway, moving on. And so, and it tickles me, you know, we do the car shows and event company stuff, and we had a really big event coming up, and this guy was promoting it up and all these different things. I want a burnout contest, which is a recipe for disaster in a car show. And I know everybody loves, I love a good burnout just as much as the next guy. The only problem with burnout contests is being on the event side of things, it is literally a disaster waiting to happen. I mean, you know, what does everybody do when they're doing burnouts? They get their phone out and they're getting all close, and you know, you got to think. I've never understood what people's attraction. I guess it's like a bug to a damn bug zapper light, you know. But like, you have a car that's spinning its tires at a high rate of speed, that's moving side to side, and stuff's flying up, and you want to get closer to it. And I'm talking about, you know, you watch all these videos online of people that get closer and closer and closer and closer and closer. And I'm like, you know, if his tire comes apart, you know, if his foot slips off the brake, anything, you know, this could just be horrible, you know, and virtually look at any Mustang show, the end. And, you know, somebody's going to get hurt. You know, that's the first thing that pops in my head when somebody says, "I want a burnout contest." Yeah, they're fun, but they're risky. Well, in my opinion, having an auction is very risky. You know, and this guy's like, "Man, I want to have an automobile auction at this event. It's going to be huge. basically he's took every idea and he wanted to cram them in this one big show. And, you know, hey, I'm all about it, brother. You know, I'm just sitting here playing background music. I'm all about it. You know, just let me know what to announce. And I'll sit back and watch. And he goes, yeah, I teamed up with this guy. He's a real good auctioneer guy, owns an auction company, does all these car auctions and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, really? Who's this guy? He names him off. That's my old buddy. I'm like, you're gonna regret that move. And he goes, no, man, you know, we've talked and you know, we went back and forth and yada, yada, yada. And, you know, this guy, he's the real deal. And I'm like, yeah, he's the real deal, all right. I mean, this guy literally, I'm trying to think of the nicest way to talk about someone like this. He's literally the free space in a game of asshole Scrabble. Just not the person you want to hang out with. This is the guy that makes Satan not look so bad. You know, just one of those people, just shady, and even when you don't have to be. You know, like just, he chooses to be that way. Like that's his thing. And, you know, people like that blow my mind. When you can do something and be legit, but they'd rather take the hard way and do it crooked. But anyway, and it just kills me. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, hell, I just do what makes life simple. But whatever. And I just told him, I said, you're going to regret this move, I'm telling you. You know, and I you know, there again, it's not my job to hold his hand doing this event. You know, it's my job to play background music, make announcements, you know? And so, yeah, we're sitting there, and sure enough, he calls me up probably about 3 days before the event. Keep in mind, flyers are out, radio commercials are out. I'm talking about this big live collector car auction we're going to have. And this guy backs out. Well, the guy that's putting on the show calls me up, and he goes, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? You know, this guy backed out on us. You know, we got to have an auction. Well, I got a buddy that does it. The only catch is in auctions, you have to be licensed in the area you're having the auction. Well, where we were having the car show at, he wasn't licensed for. And I told him that. And I said, here's the guy's name and his number, give him a call, maybe he can bail you out. But I think it'd be better off just say something came up and we didn't have the auction. He said, man, we got cars lined up for this already, yada, yada, yada. I'm just like, he was just having a meltdown. So he called my buddy, and my buddy said, hey, I can do it. And he said, you know, a little small town auction like this, you know, you got 30, 40 cars, it ain't gonna be that big a deal. So, you know, he goes online, starts changing everything around. This new auction company's doing it now and all this stuff. Well, I guess the guy that backed out saw this and turned him in for operating auction, or for going to operate auction outside his little jurisdiction or area he was licensed. So now we're back to having no auction again. And basically, this guy's mentality, if he's not going to do it, nobody's going to do it. And you know, so this event promoter, he was just literally about to have a shitting hemorrhage. He just couldn't stand it. He was so mad. So, you know, we get there bright and early, set up, and cars started rolling. The event was a huge success, big crowd. But anyway, we're setting up, you know, putting speakers out and all this stuff. And, you know, it was at a racetrack. And the guy that owns the track was, you know, just cruising around the track, super cool guy, good old boy, you know. And I was sitting there talking to him. I've known him for years. And I was sitting there in an event trailer. Matter of fact, it was me and Kobe were in the event trailer, you know, doing, you know, sound tests and just playing around. You know, we're still about an hour before we even open the gates for the show. And I look, and you know, keep in mind, we're literally sitting at the start-finish line of this racetrack, this big round track. And we're at the start-finish line, and I look straight up the bleachers and walking around the perimeter of the bleachers. And walking around the perimeter of the bleachers was the guy that backed out on us. So the very first thing I do is I get on my phone and just snap a picture and send it to my buddy. I said, looks like your buddy showed up. Well, the next thing you know, the track owner comes rolling by in his golf cart. He goes, where's that son of a bitch at? And I said, right there. literally rolls right up to the wall, steps up on the wall, goes over, up the bleachers, runs up the bleachers, grabs him by one arm and escorts his ass out of there. He goes, and this guy, the story I heard was, you can't tell me to leave. And he said, no, I own this motherfucker. I can tell you to leave. Get the hell out of here. And matter of fact, that's the last dealings I had with this guy. Totally. It's the last time I ever laid eyes on that guy. Thank goodness. But I guess it just goes to show you, at the end of the day, he got served a little bit of karma. He got his ass escorted out and embarrassed. And, keep in mind, by this time, people were coming in. Show was a huge success. Actually, started doing more of these shows, and they all did great, and all that. And, at the end of the day, I had a buddy of mine tell me, he goes, you think he's mad at you for telling on him like that? I said, hell, it serves him right. You know what I mean? Why be like that? I mean, the thing is, you could have done what you promised the guy, and I don't know his reasons behind it. I don't know. I don't care. At the end of the day, you give your man your word, you do it. I don't know. Maybe that makes me maybe a little different shady car dealer other than these auctioneers. Anyway, guys, we'll catch you next time at Rabbit's Used Cars.